Hello, good evening everyone. I am Mr. MS Reddy. In this session, we are going to deal with the care of patients with COVID-19 in ward. Objective of this session: at the end of the session, participants will be able to understand the nursing management of a patient in ward with COVID-19. Next, we will see the source of patients, from where the patients will be coming to the isolation ward, that is COVID ward. Patients will be coming from the emergency department, inpatient department and outpatient department. From the emergency department, people who are having the emergency severity index 1 and 2, they will be shifted to the ICU. Emergency severity index 3, 4, 5. The patients who are relatively stable, they will be coming to the wards. Upon receiving the patient, ensure that the patient is wearing a triple layer surgical mask and receive the patient into negative pressure isolation room. If negative pressure isolation room is not available, cohort the patient of same signs and symptoms into one area. Ensure there is a gap of 2 meters between the beds. Assess the patient. Assess for the presenting signs and symptoms. Based on the presenting signs and symptoms, we will categorize the patients into 3 categories: mild to moderate, severe and critically ill patient. If the patient is presenting with mild signs and symptoms like fever, dry cough, sore throat, nasal congestion, malaise and headache, then it is considered as mild to moderate illness. Almost 81% of COVID cases belongs to this particular category. Second category is severe illness. If the patient is having breathing difficulty, if the patient is hypoxic, that is oxygen saturation less than 90% and greater than 50% lung involvement in X-ray, then it is considered as severe category. 14% of cases falls to this category. And the third category is critical illness. If the patient is having respiratory failure, any signs and symptoms of shock and multi-organ dysfunction like cardiac failure, renal failure, liver failure, all these cases will be considered as critically ill cases. Almost 5% of COVID cases will be critically ill. Nursing interventions. As there is no definitive treatment for COVID-19, the patient has to be managed symptomatically. First and foremost thing is monitoring of vital signs. Monitor vital signs at least once in 8 hours as well as whenever it is required. If the patient is presented with increased respiratory rate, patient may be having hypoxemia. If the patient blood pressure is continuously falling, patient is having weak thready pulse, patient is having tachycardia, it may be suggestive of patient is landing up in shock. With the availability of digital thermometers, digital BP apparatus, we can ask the patient for self-monitoring of vital signs, because of which we can reduce the nurse's exposure to patients. Management of hyperthermia. Fever in COVID is characterized by mild fever with gradual rise of temperature. If the patient is having fever, monitor vital signs, provide plenty of liquids, provide cold compress and ensure there is a good ventilation. And antipyretics like paracetamol can be given to the patient. Other important aspect of COVID-19 management is management of hypoxia. Monitor the oxygen saturation through pulse oximeter. Initiate supplemental oxygen therapy at the rate of 5 liters per minute through face mask. Our target oxygen saturation is greater than 90% in case of adults, and in pregnant women it is in between 92 to 95%. Patient need to be continuously monitored for the signs of progressive respiratory failure. If the patient is dyspneic or still hypoxic even after delivering oxygen through high flow mask, then the patient may be progressing towards respiratory failure. How to manage progressive respiratory failure? In case of progressive respiratory failure, in spite of oxygen delivery through high flow oxygen, the patient will be unable to maintain the oxygen saturation and the patient will be still dyspneic. In this case, we have to go for non-invasive ventilation through CPAP or BiPAP. Even after non-invasive ventilation, if the patient condition is not improving or still deteriorating, we may have to go for invasive ventilation through endotracheal intubation. In this case, the patient requires critical care monitoring. Infection control and prevention practices to be implemented. Another important aspect in COVID-19 management is prevention and control of spread of infection. Let's see the infection control strategies to contain the spread of infection. First and foremost thing is remove all non-essential and difficult to clean furniture from the ward. Only the equipment which can be easily cleaned or disinfected, those things can be kept in the ward. Don't allow visitors inside the ward. If it is unavoidable, provide adequate PPE for the visitors also. The data of all the people, whoever is entering inside the ward, need to be maintained in a register so that it will be helpful in case of any infection outbreak. Healthcare workers in contact with the patient should wear appropriate PPE. We have got various personal protective equipments like face mask, N95 mask, face shield, goggles, gown, apron, gloves, head cover and shoe cover. Select the appropriate procedure based on the procedure you are performing, and appropriate donning and doffing is very essential to contain the spread of infection. Standard safety precautions to be taken at all the circumstances. Always before and after the contact with the patient, before and after procedures, as well as after touching the patient's environment, hand washing to be done. If any direct contact with blood and body fluids, secretions, excretions, mucous membranes and non-intact skin, gloves to be worn mandatorily. If any risk of splash onto the body, gown has to be worn. If at all any risk of splash over the body as well as face, in that case we may have to wear the gloves, gown, surgical mask along with the goggles and face shield. Disinfection of equipment. The instruments which are used at the patient bedside need to be disinfected immediately. Keep the equipment dedicated to each patient as much as possible. Avoid sharing of equipment between the patients. Disinfect the stethoscope and thermometers and BP cups with 70% alcohol before each patient use. Immediately after the usage, immerse the instruments in the 1% sodium hypochlorite solution for 10 minutes. Bacillocid 2% or Cidex solution also can be used. Dry the instruments. After drying, send it to CSSD for sterilization. Environmental decontamination. Patient environment act as a reservoir of pathogens and the microbes will be transmitted via contact route. The patient environment is divided into two categories such as high touch surface areas and low touch surface areas. High touch surface areas are those where the patient is coming in frequent contact, like doorknobs, side rails, light and fan switches, toilet and bathroom fittings, edges of privacy curtains, keyboards, edges of cardiac tables, chairs and remotes. These are all the areas which will be lodging larger number of viral counts. These things need to be disinfected frequently. Disinfect the high touch surfaces at least once in 2 hours. by using 1% sodium hypochlorite solution. Small surfaces can be disinfected by using ethyl alcohol or isopropyl alcohol concentration of 60 to 90%. Floor cleaning need to be done at least once in 2 to 3 hours by using 1% sodium hypochlorite. Terminal disinfection and fogging will be done by using 1% sodium hypochlorite. Terminal disinfection will be done once the patient is transferred out of the bed or the patient is discharged or after the patient's death. Completely disinfect the patient's cot, mattress, stretchers, wheelchair and all other surfaces wherever the patient has come in contact. Next, we have come to the other important aspect in containing the infection, that is biomedical waste management. Segregate the biomedical waste as per the biomedical waste management rules. Label the biomedical waste collection bags as COVID-19 waste along with time of generation and which type of waste is inside. While collecting the waste, double layered bags, that is you have to use 2 bags for collection of waste so that any leakage of contents will be avoided. Discard the infected general waste into yellow bin. How are we going to segregate the waste which is generated from the COVID ward? Into the red bin, we are going to discard all the infected rubber and plastic waste like syringes without needles, gloves, catheters, tubings, IV sets, goggles, face shield, plastic coveralls, plastic apron. All these things will be discarded into the red bin. And into the yellow bin, we are going to discard any human anatomical waste, cotton and gauze pieces which are contaminated with blood and body fluids, any liquid waste, diapers, surgical mask, N95 mask, disposable non-plastic aprons, head cap, shoe covers will be discarded into the yellow bin. All the infected general waste like food remnants, water bottles, disposable glasses also need to be discarded in the yellow bin. Broken glasses, ampoules, vials will be discarded into the blue cardboard box. All the sharp items like needles, surgical blades, scalpels, scissors, lancets will be discarded into the white puncture-proof container. Separate trolleys and vehicles need to be used for the transportation of biomedical waste generated from the COVID wards. The handling person should wear appropriate personal protective equipment. After emptying the bins, disinfect the bins and the transport trolleys, the transport vehicles with 1% sodium hypochlorite. Another important aspect in the biomedical management is liquid waste management. The liquid waste like suction jar contents, drainage bag contents, unused blood samples need to be disinfected before discarding. They need to be treated with 1% sodium hypochlorite solution in the concentration of 1:1 ratio, which means if you have got 100 ml of secretions, it need to be diluted with 100 ml of 1% hypochlorite solution. Keep it for 10 minutes, later it can be discarded. Hypochlorite solution need to be prepared every 8 hourly so that it will be effective in killing the microorganisms. Another important aspect is spill management. The person who is handling the spill need to wear adequate personal protective equipment. First of all, remove the organic matter of the spill with an absorbent materials like tissue paper or by spreading a newspaper. Later, pour the disinfecting solution over the spillage area. Here we are using 1% sodium hypochlorite solution in case of small spills and 10% hypochlorite solution for larger spills. The spill contents after removal, it will be packed in the yellow bin and discarded in the yellow color biomedical bin. Next comes the Lenin management. All the Lenin generated from the unit, whether from the patient side or from the healthcare providers, it is considered as infectious Lenin and appropriate disinfection to be done before washing and next usage. Immediately after the usage, dip the Lenin in 0.1% sodium hypochlorite solution for 30 minutes and afterwards it will be washed. Wash and dry under direct sunlight. Afterwards it will be sent to CSSD for sterilization. Discharge guidelines and patient teaching. As per the latest discharge policy by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, symptomatic patient can be discharged 10 days after symptom onset plus at least 3 days without symptoms. An asymptomatic patient can be discharged 10 days after they were tested positive for COVID-19. Patient teaching. Instruct the patient after the discharge 7 days of home isolation is mandatory. They will be doing the self-monitoring of health. Teach the patient when they have to report the hospital, like if they are developing the symptoms of dyspnea, if they are having chest pain, they are having disorientation, bluish lips, all these things needs immediate medical attention. The patient needs to come to hospital in case if any of these symptoms arises. Teach the patient regarding importance of hand hygiene as well as respiratory hygiene, that is including cough etiquette. Thank you. This is all about the care of COVID-19 patient in the ward. If you have any doubts regarding my topic, kindly post in the chat box so that I can reply back to you. Thank you.